Thank you to our panelists. So much to think about, so many ideas to play with. We wanted to open it up to the floor to take questions or comments. And just for my own housekeeping, what time or how long do we have for questions? 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes.
Okay, solve the world's problems.
I have all amazing presentations, thank you. But I have a question for Sheila, because this is pressing in my life right now. And I work with a lot of senior LGBTQ people. Many of us receive disability pensions. Disability pensions end at age 65. And what would you suggest we can do to prevent that from happening, that they go to the end of our natural lives, which is only fair? If we're talking about basic incomes, a disability pension is part of our basic income.
So that's the whole issue of what is basic and what else needs to be there is really important. So the issue of disability is another one of those ones where we already have really good precedents in other systems, including in our tax system. So there are, for example, moves to make more of the credits that we've already got in the tax system that are non-refundable to make them refundable. So a lot of those are disability credits that you don't get to take advantage of if your income is too low. If you make those refundable and build that into a basic income as well, then you are able to recognize disability and ensure that the basic income also recognizes particular conditions that have to be there. Certainly. And I just want to clarify, too, that in talking about seniors and children's benefits, I was not describing them as perfect systems, but they certainly are drastically better than what's available for most other people. So they still do need improvement, too.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi there. I have a question for Pauline.
Yes.
I was really impressed by the wraparound services. And do you have any longitudinal studies of the success rate, how women are doing after they've gone through the program? And is there a finite time with, that you sponsor them for 2 years for the college education, but can they stay longer in the subsidized housing if they need it?
I'll answer the last question first. No, it is a finite program. We fall under what's called a care program, and so that the women are in transitional housing with us. Our program runs for 4 years maximum, so it's not just covering the college, it runs for a 4-year period. And in an ideal setting, our goal is to allow for the women to complete the first phase of the program, which is pre-college, and the college program with at least 1 year left in their residency with us, so that they have the opportunity to get employed. Their rent will also go up because their rent is geared to income, but at least it provides them with an opportunity to hopefully pass probation, get some roots being settled, so when they actually have to exit, they're in a much better place to navigate rent. They've already got a good reference, and so on and so forth, to be able to find housing. The second piece, the longitudinal, nothing formal, I'm sorry to say. Many of the women, after they leave the program, are, thank you very much, and I want to move on with my life. We have an alumni association, so I have anecdotal stuff where the women actually come back every few months to actually talk about their own journey to women who are about to exit, to provide some sort of support, tips, sense like that, but there's nothing other than that that's formal. Okay?
Okay, other questions from the audience? Robin has one.
Always.
I wanted to ask about the piloting of the basic income. I've heard that communities are actually vying for the opportunity to be a pilot site. Do we have any sense of what is going to be going into that kind of decision and what the evaluation will look like?
Mm-hmm. A great and really simple question. No, we don't. But I spent the whole morning yesterday with a bunch of really smart people, and we talked about this kind of thing. And Some of the issues revolve around, is this a pilot or is it an experiment? What happened in the 1970s was an experiment. A pilot is something different. A pilot is actually looking at how you're going to roll this out, looking at administrative hurdles, stuff that you might encounter that you need to correct along the way. But the Ontario government isn't, it's not entirely clear yet whether they really do mean pilot or whether that's being used in a very generic kind of way. We talked about the differences between scatter and saturation sites. So this is where a number of communities are really vying to be saturation sites. So in the 1970s, Winnipeg was a scatter site. It was a random control, different people would be assigned. In Dauphin, Manitoba, everybody who was eligible to receive it, everybody was enabled to participate in the program. And the fascinating thing about that was that these many years later, there's evidence that there were community-wide effects that were far larger than can be explained just by the people who were receiving the income. So all of those questions are, really fascinating. But the main point I wanted to make was, and it came up late in that day yesterday, the fact that Ontario isn't telling us a great deal maybe gives us a great opportunity to help shape their thinking.